In 2021, 4 graves dating back to the settlement period of Iceland were found during archaeological excavations on a farm in eastern Iceland. The findings were quite a surprise for the archaeologists, because they didn't believe that there were older remains than from the 18th century in the area. But during the excavation, they noticed that a landslide dated to 1150 had sealed off parts of the area. Those of you who have watched my video about the sunstones will know that this farm is near the mine where the Icelanders mined for Icelandic spar. Some believe that these crystals were once used to navigate the sea, and there have through the years been conducted studies to conclude if this was the case or not. I won't go into more details about it in this video, but you can watch my video about the Viking sunstones afterwards. There's a link in the description. So far, 4 graves have been discovered, all of them dating back to the Viking Age. The graves contained well-preserved skeletons, a boat, 2 horses, a dog, weapons and jewelry. One of the graves was a boat grave, where a man had been buried with a spear, a brooch, a silver ring and a belt buckle which was made in the boar style. This is a Norse art style featuring symmetrical knot patterns, often with an animal motif. In addition, there were also objects of iron and other small things, including beads. Beads were extremely popular, and they have often been found in graves and at important trading centers. There were also a game piece from the game Nifatafel, also called Viking chess, a Nordic board game that was popular in the Iron Age and Viking Age. According to one of the archaeologists, boat graves were more common in Norway, and of the nearly 400 graves examined in Iceland, only 12 are boat graves. And as far as it can be ascertained, no boat graves have previously been found in the East Fjords, with the exception of a small boat found in a children's grave at Strámur. The individuals in 2 of the graves had been buried with a horse, and one of them had even gotten a dog as companion for the afterlife. About half of the pre-Christian Icelandic graves contained horses, so this was a much more common tradition in Iceland than in Norway at this time. The 4th grave was a woman's grave, and she was buried with a pair of oval buckles and a pearl necklace consisting of 11 glass beads. In her leather purse, she had a Norwegian wheatstone, flint, and probably a couple of other objects that had decayed a long time ago. It was not normal to be buried with such beautiful and expensive grave gifts like these, and this clearly indicates that they were either very wealthy or had a high social status. These graves are another important part of our history, and they will help us to understand who and why some people chose to cross the ocean to settle on Iceland. In most cases, it was a one-way trip with the shores of Norway never to be seen again. According to one of the archaeologists, these are some of the first people who came to Iceland, and maybe we are now sitting on the physical remains of some of the first people who settled in this area. We know from the Book of Settlements that Bjolfur from Voss in Norway was the first to settle in this area, and he could have lived on the farm, which is only located 100 meters away from the graves. The Book of Settlements was not written down until 300 years after the events took place, but the stories are often correct. For example, the location of the different farms is quite precise, and there is no doubt that there has been a farm at this place since the settlement period. The objects and the skeletons have been sent to the National Museum of Iceland for further analysis, and who knows, maybe one of them was Bjolfur from Voss. Iceland has had a lot of volcanic activity, which makes me wonder what else has been sealed by landslides. Will we one day find long-forgotten Viking settlements filled with archaeological treasures? Only time will tell. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider joining the channel. See you next time for another video. Thank you for watching.